A few days ago, we saw the official announcement of Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns. Now, that is going to be a story expansion and additional characters added to the roster. In regards to the story, it looks very much like it's going to expand on the Titan Havoc that we saw at the end of the MK1 story. And in regards to the roster, we're going to have Cyrax, Sector, Noob Saibot, and 3 new guest characters. They will be Ghostface from the Scream franchise, the T-1000 from Terminator 2, and Conan the Barbarian. The reason I haven't actually made a reaction video or anything of the sort on this channel is because we'd seen it already. Everything gets bloody leaked nowadays, so any kind of new announcement and any kind of excitement that might come with it just doesn't really seem to exist for us anymore. Being in the Mortal Kombat space for as long as we have means that leaks are unavoidable. People, whether they have malicious intent or not, will just kind of let you know what they've seen online somewhere, and before you know it, the entire announcement's ruined for you. Unfortunately, that's definitely what happened to us. Now, I do want to talk about some of the moves that we saw and a little bit of the gameplay, and kind of the extra flair that we're going to be getting with this expansion. I've got a lot to say, and that's what this video is all about. So first of all, Cyrax and Sector returning as base roster. I'm really happy about that, and I had kind of hoped that we would see the cyborgs return in some capacity, and they definitely have in a different way. We kind of expected that should Cyrax and Sector return, it's not going to be exactly the same as it has been previously. I mean, come on, I main Rain, who is a mage in this game and not a ninja, so you kind of expect things to be different. And when it comes to the 2 characters that Mustard and I, love so much, I don't mind this kind of almost Iron Man suit idea. I would have preferred them to be robots or cyborgs, whatever you want to look at it, and it very much looks like humans wearing some kind of armor. I will still take that over standard human designs. I did like human Cyrax and Sector from MK9, but truth be told, if they're not cybernetic in any form, I was never as interested. And seeing as we've had now 3 different versions of Cyrax and Sector, maybe 4 if you include Triborg, I would definitely say that the original style is still my favorite. This Iron Man kind of suit idea is probably a second favorite, and then standard human design still becomes my least favorite. So I'm just happy that's not the case here, and it looks like there's a lot of scope for the famous moves to return and for the gameplay to be, in many ways, exactly as I remember it. We've also had a lot of people asking us what we think about Cyrax and Sector having their gender swapped, which I really don't think matters. This whole new era has swapped characters around and changed so many designs that nothing surprises me, and this doesn't bother me. All I care about is that the Cyrax and Sector designs are cool, which they definitely are, and that the gameplay is fun. And from what we've seen in the trailer, looks like there's some pretty promising stuff there. Noob Saibot is probably the coolest design of the 3, I would say. They've really beefed him up, and clearly it is the Bihan that we know from MK1, as is said in the trailer. I do like the design, although I think the green is cool. It's hard not to see, like, Monster Energy or something similar. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry if I've ruined that for people. But I feel like going black and purple would have been more authentic to the original Noob idea. However, I do like the green, and from a base design standpoint, I just think he looks kind of menacing, which, for Noob Saibot, is exactly what you want, isn't it? In regards to the guest characters, this is definitely where I'm a bit more up in the air. Some of them I'm interested in, some of them definitely not. I think starting with the stuff I'm not as interested in, definitely Ghostface. I'm a huge fan of horror films, and I have seen most of the Scream movies, so I do appreciate the whole franchise, I guess, but Man with Knife, I don't know how creative you could be from a gameplay point of view. And that might even be a rather ignorant statement from me. There might be some stuff in those movies, maybe I have to revisit them and there's a little bit more to work with than I originally thought, but I'm just not particularly sure there's going to be much going on. I feel like the team might have their work cut out for them to add layers to a character like that. As we have seen with some of the previous guest characters in MK1, they're not really as fleshed out as the original characters that make their return. Now, when it comes to the character I'm kind of middle of the pack, that's definitely Conan. I haven't seen Conan the Barbarian in forever. I know some friends of mine are really excited for him, but I kind of imagine this really large character that's covered in armor and has a bunch of command grabs. I mean, I don't know if that's how the character's going to work out, but you kind of look at him and think maybe this is going to be like a Kotal Khan idea, but depending on how unique they could make Conan the Barbarian, there might be some interesting stuff there. It just depends on exactly what they give him. But the character I'm really looking forward to playing is T-1000. I'm a huge fan of Terminator 2, and I really liked the work of Robert Patrick, especially in Terminator 2. Someone said to me in like a stream chat or something the other day that Robert Patrick is going to be reprising his role. I don't know if that was actually said anywhere or if it's actually happening, but if that is the case, it would be fantastic to see him come back. But when it comes to gameplay, the liquid metal Terminator, there's a lot of potential there. You kind of sky's the limit with that kind of design. And as a diehard MK fan, there's gotta be a Chrome reference at least once. Those that know. So, the initial first impressions aside, let's talk about the gameplay. We didn't see much of it, but we saw a little bit to start getting some basic ideas. We see Sector in the trailer first, and truth be told, we don't see a lot from Sector. There is some kind of string into some kind of launcher. Maybe it's a jump cancel, maybe it's just a launcher that puts you airborne, and then we see a couple of air strings. The only real kind of special move it looks like we see is this air float that Sector is doing. So I wonder if there's going to be some kind of like maybe MK11 Jackie kind of deal with these mini hovers in the air that allow you to extend things. If that is the case, it would be really cool. We haven't seen any of the other moves though, so no teleport, no missiles, the flamethrower is used in a grab, and that's kind of it. So we are still left wondering, what is Sector going to bring to the table? For Cyrax, we actually see a little bit more. In the small gameplay portion of Cyrax, we see that the bomb or the net or whatever has kind of almost been replaced by this like foam that surrounds the opponent, and that activates the trap instead, you know, the stun of the opponent for bigger combos, and the return of Cyrax's teleport, only this teleport leaves a bomb behind. So we definitely saw more of Cyrax in this trailer. There's a bit more familiarity with this design. We see the bomb, we see a stun, we see some kind of flashy combo enders, I guess. So although we saw more here, I definitely feel like Cyrax is going to still definitely have that element of familiarity, which I find kind of interesting because if you're pairing the cameos with the base characters, there could be some ridiculously cool stuff here. And then finally, from gameplay that we saw, Noob Saibot. Noob Saibot has the shadow clones, we see one launch, we see the return of the portals, which very much excites me. We haven't seen the portals used in gameplay since Mortal Kombat 9, so it's been quite a while since they've made their appearance. This could create some very, very interesting gameplay ideas, and Noob Saibot becomes somewhat of like a setup character with these portals. If they are used as and when you want, and they lead to cool mix-ups or weird launches, cool combos, I mean, that's what made Noob Saibot for me so much fun to play in MK9, and his portals were only a very small part of his design, so if they are expanded here, and you have the shadow clones back to back, we could have, in theory, the most interesting Noob Saibot that we've had thus far. Outside of gameplay, we see some familiar stages that have been destroyed or just kind of ravaged by Havoc or the timeline or whatever it is you want to call it. Looks like there's definitely some weirdness going on. Excited to kind of see how those stages can develop just from a visual standpoint. The stages don't really make a difference in Mortal Kombat 1, so there's not much else to talk about, but visually, I think they do look pretty cool. I hope there are some new stages though. I hope it's not just going to be redone versions of original stages. I'd really like to see some new ones, just for a bit of the old variety, I guess. But honestly, there's not much else to talk about right now. There's been some cool reveals. I'm not completely sold on everything. That's just the nature of a big reveal for me normally. Sometimes I like the characters and sometimes maybe not so much. And as I said earlier today, I'm a bit hit and miss on this pack. I love to see the cyborgs return, or I guess not cyborgs in this game. It does look like they're going in with the suits, and one thing I did like, actually, is that Cyrax and Sector look identical. They have pretty much the exact same costume, just yellow and red, and that's always been something I quite liked about original Cyrax and Sector. Maybe it's because I'm a biased twin, I guess. But overall, pretty optimistic about what the original characters are bringing to the table. When it comes to the guest characters, time will tell, and we're going to have to wait and see. Now, I obviously did not talk about animalities. I actually have a separate video planned for that, and when it comes to the animality, I'd really like to talk about it in a bit more detail in a separate video. So, first impressions, very happy to see animalities return. It is the one thing that didn't get leaked for me, so I was actually excited to see something in the trailer. That is so good. And something that I wish I could still enjoy, but them's the ways when you're a Mortal Kombat creator on the internet. So sadly, that's probably not going to be the last time something is ruined for me. I do appreciate everyone watching this video. By all means, let me know what you thought of this reveal. People definitely seem to be kind of almost 50-50 on it. Some people are really excited, and some people, it's not quite what they were looking for. So a healthy conversation in the comments, please. No arguing, no being mean to each other, and more importantly, look after yourselves. My name is Ketchup. This has been another episode of whatever Mortal Kombat ramblings I fancy doing when there's a new trailer, and I'll see you next time.